I'm hearing your background noise, Melody. Stand by for the broadcast. Today is July 30th, 2018. Get ready for the Emerging Sea broadcast system, the Forbidden History series, what they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here, because somebody's got to do it, and we're just the gluttons for punishment to carry it out, ladies and gentlemen, right here. We now interrupt your normal scheduled programming to bring you this very important deprogramming program, And special thanks to YouTube.com for your hosting the Forbidden History series. Please note that the following views and the opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily the views nor the opinions of the Master Force Group, YouTube.com, Free America Radio Network, our sponsors, our partners, and MFG is a private society, and nothing here is ever to be construed as hate, medical, nor legal advice. And listen to the Forbidden History prime time 7 days a week right here on the realpublicradio.net, because hidden beneath the sands of time lies the greatest of all mysteries. It's the Forbidden History. Unearth for yourself the secret truths that lie hidden just beneath the surface below our feet. What is it that the powers that be do not want you or I to know? Come and journey with us as we explore and dare to know, because it's all right here, coming your way, twice a day, 7 days a week, because we're gluttons for punishment, right here on the realpublicradio.net, Free America Radio Network, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Join us, won't you? And you did tell your friends, right? Tell your friends, call your friends. Tell them, let's have a revolution in thinking, ladies and gentlemen. And Paula, good to have you. Your favorite programming show coming up right here. That's correct. And yeah, very beautiful pictures. Thank you. And Lynn, good to have you. We're in good company, ladies and gentlemen. We're in good company. Stand by for the broadcast. Coming up next. Coming to you live from Studio Z at the Lighthouse in Central Ohio, right in the heart of Amish country, in the land of dreams, enchantments, and nightmares. It's the Forbidden History series. What they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here. The great lies of history. The duality revealed. Movie reviews. The symbolism. The ABCs of light. The original thought transliteration project. We are the deprogramming program. Somebody had to do it, ladies and gentlemen, because the battle is for your mind. The truth is light. Ignorance is darkness. And these are the great antagonists, the one against the other. And where do you stand in the fall, ladies and gentlemen? Because once we can begin to comprehend the true nature of things, then we can begin to comprehend that there is nothing more to complain about. We just have to deal with our reality. And when we can find the great lie, then we will find the great truth, the truth above everything else. And the best way to identify that truth is to identify those lies, the great lies of history, in the duality of this matrix. Nature speaks, but the one who doesn't care to know the truth and hear that great voice is merely the slave who doesn't want to be free. And if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. But you will know the truth, and the truth will make you a fugitive. The individual is handicapped by coming face to face with a conspiracy so monstrous and so great that he cannot actually accept that it really exists. And that's what we bring you right here. because we've got to do it, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to confront our reality. On the realpublicradio.net, Free America Radio Network. And I'm your host, Desert Owl. Glad you tuned in, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you are telling your friends. We've got a long road to go, but a short bridge to get there. And hi, Paula. So we've got a great presentation for you tonight. I've got a friend standing by who is a law researcher and a whole lot more. She's been around the horn. She's contemporary with me, and I produced a radio program for her on my network called Mel's Bar and Grill. It's her program that she was producing on another network, and then we brought her over to my network. And and Melody's right there under Courtney Gillespie. That's Melody Gillespie on her husband's YouTube channel. So say hi to Melody. I guess she can look at the chat at the same time we're talking here. But Mel's Bar and Grill, I don't know if it was traffic that got Melody involved with, trying to define the legal sleaze. But I know at one point it was traffic. Yet she was doing programs for showing the underground regulations and trying to show how the game is played in a corporate shell game, a commerce racket, anything but law and truth that we have to confront every day. And as one summed it up very well in their quote, and I think it was Dan Pilla Sr. He said that there are more crimes committed in the courtrooms of America in one day than there are outside of the courtroom for the rest of the year. Let's say it again. There are more crimes committed in the courtrooms of America in just one day than there are committed outside the courtroom for the rest of the year. Melody Gillespie, tell me it isn't so. Good to have you, Melody. That she's on mute and she's going to.
There's a bunch of criminals in that courtroom.
Good to have you, Melody. Yes, it's a criminal racket, right? It's a craft. They call themselves the craft.
I pointed out to the judge that the cop had committed several felonies and misdemeanors, and he was more intent on an alleged misdemeanor, not a misdemeanor, but of infraction.
Right. Yeah. Because it was good for business, right? Bottom line.
Yeah, he was going to get more money out of me than he would be the cop. I don't know about that, but I think that if they had actually went after the cop for the crimes that he committed, that probably they would have got more money until the other cops stopped writing traffic tickets.
Well, that's true. That is a conflict of interest, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so I'm glad to hear the cop got to continue to write fraudulent traffic citations on the Mediterranean Sea with the sirens. The sirens, when they scream, you get pulled over to the rocks and basically destroyed once you land on the rocks, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, Melody.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, well,
sounds about right.
It's about the chilling effect. When they originally put him in the water, they said, okay, you're going to stay in this water till you talk or you're going to drown, And the guy said, okay, don't chill me out anymore. I can't take it. So the first chilling effect is when they're turning on a siren and all their blue and red lights to pull you over for a tail light that's out, right? And pull their guns and everything.
Oh, yeah, I've had them do that to me.
Yeah.
And it was completely made up.
No,
The cop
they
pulled
wouldn't
me
do that,
over
Melody.
for
Come on, come on.
nothing.
Say it again.
Claimed I ran a stop sign, that I was speeding, and none of it was true. He wanted a hookup because it was the New Year's Eve
Party.
weekend.
Yeah, party time.
Yeah, and it was 6 o'clock in the morning. I was going to work, and he saw my long, flowing hair, and he figured I was a party girl going home. Yep. That's the only explanation, because I did not violate one traffic law.
Oh, and so he was disappointed.
Well, yeah, when he found out I was a cantankerous old lady. So then he had the SWAT team and everything coming after me.
Oh,
they beat me up at the roadside. Yeah, and the biggest crime I committed was I was on my way to work on a holiday.
Shame on you. That's right. How dare you go to work on a holiday? Come on. You know,
yeah.
you're supposed to stay home. So anyway,
I started passing out flyers to all the nurses saying this is how they treat nurses while they go to work.
Yeah.
And come and see the trial.
Yeah.
And they kept postponing the trial because I kept putting out flyers for the nurses to come and see me on trial.
So you had a real good backing then, right there, right?
Well, I don't know that I had any backing because they kept postponing until nobody was there.
Right, but what I mean is you had real regular people behind you in this nonsense they were perpetrating against you, right? Not nonsense, but criminal activity, actually, correct?
Exactly. And this is I knew that this is what the local cops do. They troll high schools to pick up high school girls. They go to fast food places to pick up high school girls. It's they're a bunch of pedophiles.
Now you're talking about not your actual location today, but where you were just a decade ago. Would that be correct?
1990. No, 2000. Year 2000.
Yeah. Okay.
18 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Because things have changed a little bit. But
I doubt. Well, yeah, they're old and retired now.
Yeah.
But I doubt that they didn't pass on their perversions. I'm pretty sure they passed on their perversions to their young colleagues.
Well, no doubt. It's a secret handshake club at the core. Not everybody's in on the secret handshake, but at the core, typically you got the sheriff and, the chief of police.
Yeah.
And then Bubba, because, he does all the dirty work, right?
Well, I'm not sure which one is the Bubba, but, there was several different. Oh, I see what Paula says. I am a police officer's daughter. It's the bad boys club, and most of them are corrupt. My dad was a sergeant and worked 30 years, and he has been retired for over 15 years now.
I was just reading that. Yeah, so that's from Paula.
I do not lie, do I, Paula? I'm telling the truth. Yeah, I knew this about police officers before, a long time ago, because one of my boyfriends hung out with them.
Yeah, but I just want to add, because we're talking about cops, that I've actually met some of the best, and I haven't forgot them today. I'll never forget them when they were there and who they were, and their name. I remember all that. So the good ones do make up for the bad ones, but it's just like society, all society. You got the good, you got the corrupt, and then you got the people who just don't give a damn and want to mind their own stupid business and are the bigger part of the problem.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I have yet to meet one of the good ones.
Okay.
I had been pulled over so many times.
Yeah.
And they are jerks.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them are nasty.
Yeah.
But you got to understand that they're covering up for the other guys.
Well, right, but also in the traffic, they're dealing with a quota system.
How good can they be?
Yeah.
They're covering up for the bad ones.
Oh, but I think the quota system is the thing that really corrupts them, because has no longer to deal with the common law issues or right or wrong, and now is based on a contractual arrangement that we've never been notified about, so it's fraudulent on its face.
Well, I'm going to get to why they act ultra-virus. The word is ultra-virus. That means when they act outside of the law.
Okay.
At some point, probably not today,
okay,
but at some point I'm going to talk about it. How come they're acting ultra-virus? But, you know, for some reason people think that if they give police more power, that somehow it isn't going to corrupt them. And they can't really have any more power than the Constitution allows them to have. And that's what I was going to talk about today, is how the Constitution and the 4 organic laws that make up our limited republican government today limits the government and how to enforce it. I don't know if I'll get all of that in, but at least give people an idea on what they need to start boning themselves, learning, to get that backbone to be able to fight back with some power.
Yeah.
Well, because the police are a violation of the 4th Amendment, and let's see, which one is the amendment that there should be no standing army or quarter? People will not be.
Well, I think it's just prior to the 10th. It's right in that range, right?
Yeah, where they're not to force the people to quarter an army.
Yeah.
And they're not to, and when they come into your house and violate your privacy, when you haven't done anything wrong.
Yeah, I think it's called takeover. Takeover, right?
Yeah, it's they are militarized now.
Yeah.
They are a standing army.
There is no sovereign ground. No, for them, there is no sovereign ground.
No, there isn't. They're not. They're completely ultra-virus.
Unless you're a political unless you're a political diplomat, then they love you, right?
Well, if you have some clout or power, and which pops up in their computer, leave this person alone.
Yeah.
Then they will leave you alone. But you have to come to a point where that's what they look at. What is this really a person I want to mess with? I haven't come to that point yet. They'll still mess with me.
Right.
But sometimes when I'm out there on the road, I'm invisible to them. Thanks to my Lord and Savior who watches over me.
Yeah. So, Melody, what was it that got you in this ball game originally? Was it traffic or something else?
Yes, traffic. I work hard for my money, and I couldn't see paying huge amounts for a ticket for him pulling me over, and I didn't do anything. There was no accident. I didn't harm anybody. I wasn't going too fast.
Right.
I wasn't being reckless.
Right, and you were not.
There was absolutely no reason for them to pull me over.
Okay.
I used to be young and pretty, and so sometimes they would just pull me over for that.
Sure, but in other words, you were not a part of any patriotic organization, any freedom movement. It was strictly a woman that got tired of being abused situation?
Yep, that was it. And then I started to sit in on the patriot movements to try to find out if they had any knowledge of what was going on and how to fight back.
Okay.
So it's all. I can't say that some of it was reasonable and others not so reasonable. You know, you had to say, well, how in the world am I going to make this work?
Yeah.
To me, I'm a very logical person. So things have to work, or I have to know how to work them.
Okay.
Or make them work. Or I just store this back for a later time when it makes sense to me. And, well, the part about, you know, you signed a contract with the driver's license, well, you know what? The court will deny that the driver's license is a contract. Well, and they'll deny that the Supreme Court has ruled that you can drive without a driver's license for your daily needs.
Really?
But yeah, they'll deny that. I said, well, I have a right to drive, and I have a right to drive my car for my daily needs.
Yeah.
And the judge says, well, no, if I have to have a driver's license, you have to have a driver's license. Oh, really? Can you show me where that authority is?
Right, and they can't.
No.
Bingo.
They just say overruled.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're completely, there's nothing constitutional about these courts. There's nothing legitimate about them, other than they have the appearance of legitimacy.
Yeah, and Paula, Paula's jumping in. I just want to say she's adding, you can now get thrown in jail, lose your driver's license, have your tax returns intercepted for not paying a speeding ticket. Too many people are in jail for cannabis crimes, etc., etc. It's a very profitable system.
Yeah, it's all ultra-virus.
Yeah.
And it's because not only have they watered us down with immigrants who've never learned the law, but thanks to the public schools, the children don't have the ability to learn the law. They only have the ability to recite what they've been taught in school. And their method of teaching with the Common Core is continuous memorization. It's not independent thought.
Yeah. Memorization.
How to think independently. How generalization is not there.
Right, and memorization of propaganda.
The propaganda, that's right.
And never learning the true nature of law nor money, and therefore totally in the dark about how this world actually operates, right?
That's right. Yeah, they're not taught about the agencies. We have no government in operation at this time. What we have is a bunch of private corporations providing government services, or pretending to.
And special backdoor favors. Don't forget those.
Well, you know, as far as the backdoor favors go, here's what I do know, is that the agencies figure out how to change the laws or fix the laws, or they use regulations, what's called underground regulations, which are regulations that haven't gone through the proper rulemaking process. And they act ultra-virus by having these unconstitutional regulations.
Okay,
And so
meaning that
you see them act out. You know, where in the world are they getting this?
right.
The DMV, did you know that you're not supposed to go to court for a ticket? That you're supposed to have the ticket heard in a circuit court? Well, actually, all DMVs have courtrooms.
Right.
And what's supposed to happen is the cop pulls you over. You're supposed to follow him to the DMV, where there you plead guilty or not guilty to the ticket, and you pay it right there.
Right, but you would never have been incarcerated, right? You're still free to go.
Right. Yeah. It's an infraction, and in order for it's right in your DMV code. It says passenger car is not part of the commercial venue. It's a private car.
Well, right. In fact, you're not a passenger. You're a guest. A passenger is on a bus or a taxi.
Right.
Common.
They do call them passenger cars, but it says that only these regulations only apply to commercial cars.
Yeah. Well, right, but that would be
not
commercial
vehicles.
Commercial vehicles for conveyance that are not conveyances but are in commerce. Like driving is a commercial term because you drive a team of horses, but when you're out for pleasure, you are riding versus driving, right?
Well, there was one time a friend of mine was driving, and the cops pulled us over, and he told me to get out of the car, and I said, I'm a guest here. I'm not a passenger.
Yeah, that's it.
And he says, well, why don't you want to get out of the car? And I said, because I know the laws change once I get out.
Yeah.
And he left me alone.
Yeah. There you go. Right, because you are in your private capacity and you are not answering questions. You're minding your own business, right?
Yes, and we were not in use of the car, and use means for commercial business.
Yeah. So Melody, in simple terms, is this another great lie of history that we bring on here?
They've changed our words. They've stolen our words from us too, and turned them into something that we have no knowledge of what the meaning is, the true meaning, so that they can get us to admit to things that's not really true.
Like you're driving when you're not really driving. Because driving is a commercial term.
Well, it can be.
Yeah.
But it says right in the definitions that this doesn't apply to these statutes don't apply to passenger cars. They apply only to commercial vehicles.
Right, gotcha. So do you then get into the issue of this state, which is in all capital letters, this idea of this state?
Pardon?
Well, I used to produce a program for Harmon Taylor, and he was going to the Supreme Court on the traffic issue. I don't know enough detail about that, but he talked about the idea of this state, Melody, in all capital letters, this, THIS, state. In other words, when they use that terminology, like, you have offended this state. Well, this state is like 4 feet off the ground and doesn't exist, right? It's an illusion, a fiction.
Well, any state they refer to is going to be the municipal corporation, because that's what they are. They're municipal employees.
Okay.
So anything the judge is going to rule on is going to apply to a municipal corporation with the name of United States of America, or the state of California, or the state of Ohio, or
yeah.
Right,
and that's that is this state. That's the fictional state that they're not revealing to us, that they got us thinking we're in law when we're in corporate fiction and commerce, right?
They can't reach out and touch you unless they presume that you are one of them.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, because they have no authority over people. Think about it. Unless you're interfering with someone else's rights, and someone has to ask them to get involved to stop you from violating someone else's rights, then all of these statutes that the legislature passed, all of these regulations that the agency creates, cannot possibly apply to you and me, because we were not created by them.
Yeah.
They can only reach out and touch someone that was created by them. In other words, an employee.
Right. Also known as a resident?
Or a corporation, which is created by the municipal corporation itself.
Yeah. I see 10,000 Lakes BC is saying you, Melody, are right. Hi, everyone. I'm an expert on this. They never pull me over now. 10,000 Lakes BC says, and I speed right in front of them, laughing out loud. So there you go. Another revolutionary right there, 10,000 Lakes.
Yeah. He must have gotten something on their computer that tells them to leave them alone.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Yeah.
We should all know how to do that.
Yeah, they're bad for business. She's bad for business, boys. Leave her alone.
Yeah.
There you go. Not engaged in commerce. Right.
Yes, I did that. I had the cop read aloud right out of the books, all the crimes he committed.
Oh.
I had him read right out of the books and he admitted I was not in a commercial vehicle. I was not engaged in any commercial activity.
Yeah.
I did all of that. And the judge says, I think you're guilty. But he was amused. He let me go on as long as I wanted. It was probably something he hadn't, this was stuff he hadn't heard in a long time. Every trial that went before him that day was, anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, slam dunk a boilerplate regimen they go through every day, right?
Yeah, this was something outside of the norm. It was a couple of hours. And so I think he kind of liked it. It was different.
Yeah. Okay, well, where are you taking us, Melody?
Pardon?
Where are you taking us? Because you're taking us into the basement, basically, of the courthouse and the underground regulations and all the other nasty stuff they're engaged with, right?
Yeah. But what I say is you've got to know what the real is before you concern yourself with the fake. Because if you know what the real is, then this is where you can confront them.
Yeah.
authority that you're relying on. It has to be, whether it's the IRS or the Franchise Tax Board or the DMV, that cop that you're dealing with, you got to ask them, what is your authority that you're relying on? And of course, at the roadside, they're dangerous.
Yeah. Well, I was just pointing out in the word.
I didn't even say nothing to them. I didn't get out of the car. I didn't do anything, and they still pointed a gun at my head and yanked me out of my car and threw me on the ground and handcuffed me and took me to jail. And very roughly, as roughly as they could.
Yeah. And what? And your primary violation was at what?
He said I failed to stop. No, failed to yield. That's what he said.
I see. So
and at first he told everybody failed to yield. At first he said because there was no place to pull over. Every place was dangerous. It would have been on the road. It was it was a holiday. You don't pull over on the road. I mean, you can't pull over on the road. You're on the road, so it's not even a pullover.
Yeah.
So I had to go to a place where I could pull over safely off the road. So that was what the failure to yield was. And then he turned it into, I failed to yield at a stop sign, and I was speeding really fast. And, however, when questioned while he was on the stand, I said, and how fast did I go through this stop? I said, how fast was I going when I came to the stop sign? He says, I don't know. I couldn't see you. Well, how fast did I go through the intersection, which was a four-way stop, and there was no traffic? And he said, well, maybe 2 miles an hour. And then I was supposed to have jetted it out of there at 96 miles per hour.
Yeah.
And I had the radio logs, which showed that he completely lied about everything. And that's one thing. If you're gonna fight a ticket, get the radio logs, get the police report.
Yeah, because you got to be.
You're not supposed to have to go to court. I was arrested, so I had to go to court.
Yeah.
But when in that case, you should sue him for false imprisonment. And I haven't done that document yet, but I'm going to work on it for the next time I get pulled over.
Okay.
But you get everything that you can if you're arrested. If not, you're supposed to petition the DMV for a hearing. And you do that administratively. You request a hearing, you request all the documents they have, everything they're relying on to charge you, and they're required to give it to you. They're supposed to give you a certified, let's see, what is it called? Oh, shoot, now I can't remember. It's certified mail that they have to give it to you, but it's a demand for now I can't remember. I wasn't expecting to go along this line, so I did not do the research on. I didn't go back over my records for this.
Yeah, that's all right.
So, but when you follow the administrative procedures, which they're required to follow. The DMV must follow the Administrative Procedures Act. They're acting ultra-virus when they don't. they try to force you into courts because everybody has their hand out to take your money.
Yeah.
Which means since everybody has a vested interest in taking your money, the cops get part of it, the judge gets part of it, and the DMV gets part of it.
Yeah. But the irony is, Melody, that it's not really money. So it's a monopoly game that has nothing to do with true commerce, because it's a dead instrument. It's not backed by gold or silver. It's not real substance. It's true slavery. They monetized our birth certificates, right? All that.
Well, you're going into another part.
Okay, we can leave that as a cliffhanger.
Another story, a whole other part of law.
Another day.
Yeah. So, anyway, there's certain things you request, but what they're supposed to do is they can give you a citation, but in order to bring you in, they're supposed to give you, oh, geez, it's just escaping me.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be certified. Anyway, there's required to give you a hearing at the DMV.
Melody, is it something like having to do with a claim? No. All right.
No, if you look at the Administrative Procedures Act, there's look at the one for your state. It's going to depend on which entity. But there's 4 things that they're required to give you. A demand, let's see, it's a demand for, oh, geez, I can't remember.
Are you talking about a demand for bill of particulars?
No, you can give them a bill of particulars because it's in California law in the Civil Code of Procedure, it says whenever you're given a bill, you can demand a bill of accounting, which they stopped saying bill of particulars because bill of particulars are really powerful, and they're mostly used for criminal law, and most states have the traffic tickets as criminal.
Yeah.
They follow the criminal procedures even though they're administrative.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when they refuse to give you a hearing, you go through the Office of Administrative Law and demand. You sue them through the Office of Administrative Law for using underground regulations and violating the Administrative Procedures Act.
Right.
Let's see, there's a case in 1992, I believe, New York versus, and it was a county they were suing, I think. Oh, I can't remember what the name of it was either. Like I said, that wasn't the line I was going to go down, so I didn't look it over.
10,000 Lights is saying it's called.
It tells what the limits are on all the agencies, and I'll have all that stuff for you in later programs.
Okay. So you're priming us here, so please continue.
Anyway, and
Melody,
when the DMV refuses to give you the hearing, you can either file an administrative mandamus or file a suit against them with the Office of Administrative Law. So when you actually go to court against the DMV, you're supposed to be the plaintiff and not the state.
Yeah.
Well, 10,000 Lakes, BC has an interesting thing to say.
Yeah, I'm reading that. Go ahead.
Yeah, it says that it's called the Tennessee Warning. It's on the back of the driver's license form, and it's undisclosed and therefore null and void. And you must stop it before it gets to the point that she's talking about. Well, he says I'm doing it the hard way. Probably am. I can't say I've been successful in getting the court to listen to me, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I do know that it's typical of agencies to behave like they own you, and you got to do everything they say, no matter whether the regulations are written or not.
Yeah.
If you look in the Code of Regulations for whatever agency that you're dealing with, and it says that that there are no regulations, the regulations have all been repealed, then they can't possibly apply those regulations to you. And they make it harder and harder to be able to parallel the regulations and the codes together that they're using.
Mm-hmm.
So they are purposely trying to keep you from being able to use, to hold them to the regulations. If there's no regulations there, the regulations have been repealed, they can't use that statute on the people. And that's only the certain class of people that the codes are supposed to operate on.
Yeah.
They have to be in a certain activity, class, or service. If you're not in any of those that the codes apply to, then they're not supposed to use those on you.
Yeah. We could say it's a mistake, right? That's a key word. Mistake.
Well, suppose that they're just completely way out of line in what they're doing.
Uh-huh.
What can you do then? They don't pay attention to you. You write to the Office of Administrative Law. It makes no difference. You don't get your hearing. I would go down to your local assemblyman's office and file a complaint against that agency.
Yeah.
They will do something about it.
Great. Because they've got to keep the shell game alive and can't have the cat coming out of the bag, basically, right?
Right. And the assemblyman is capable of seeing to it that the agency, if they don't straighten up, is defunded and or their charter taken away where they can no longer operate. I doubt if they would do that to the DMV, but they would certainly interfere with coming after you of the agency coming after you to do something against you.
And by the way, because we can't do we don't have a conference system right now we're using. If you have a question for Melody Gillespie, then just post it right on the chat, okay? And just put Melody's name in all capital letters. That way we can see it real easily, okay? But if you have a question or a comment directed towards Melody, just put her name in all capital letters. That way we'll see it clearly, okay? And you're tuned in right here to the Forbidden History series and Mel's Bar and Grill every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific, trying to talk about the legal sleaze of a corporate structure that was dead from the beginning and just is there to have a party and yo a ho ho and a bottle of rum, something like that. Melody, is that it?
That sounds good.
Yeah. Well, I like this one. You know, Seagram 7 is just an anagram for the 7 grim seas. So they get kind of bored out there at one point. You know, they're just drinking that whiskey all day long. On the ninth hole, of course, right?
Yeah. Okay, can I?
You're back with Melody.
How much time have I got now?
Just take the time you need. We're doing a primer here.
Okay. I'd like to get to the law that people really need to know in order to bring back our republic.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been enough people angry that if they knew what to do, they could probably turn this all around and we could get our republic back. What started the agencies was they came from the United Nations, and you can read about it in the hard road to the world order.
Uh-huh.
And that was in Foreign Affairs magazine, May 1974. It talks about making this look that the overthrow of our republic, making it look like it's a grassroots movement. And so that's how the local agency started. We had one guy, interviewed one guy, and he said what he found was all of a sudden these people start to show up and have meetings, and they seem to be very well funded because they were giving away shirts, T-shirts, and pins and cups and all of this stuff, and they were like making friends with the ones in the city government, like that, in the county. And the next thing you know, there's new ordinances being made.
Yeah, and we know ordinances are actually military rounds they shoot off in cannons, right?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, the ordinance. Go ahead.
And whenever you think about the agencies, remember United Nations. This is the way they got the United Nations laws and the international laws into our limited republic.
Uh-huh. Through the back door, in other words, right?
Right, yes.
Right.
And it all seemed great. Oh yeah, we're going to save the rivers. We're going to, do this. We're going to do that. And it seemed, really good. And but it never was that good. It never was a good thing. People, when they own their own property, will take care of it and will conserve. And, it's something that needs to be passed on down. The problem is too many children go to public school and their parents don't own their own property, and so they never learn how to do conservation. Now, most people don't know that in order to understand what the Constitution says, that they have to understand the first 3 organic laws. The Constitution is the final part of the organic laws.
Yeah.
Were you aware of that?
Well, there's what I think we refer to as the non-written Constitution, which is foundational decree of some sort. So I'm not good at explaining it.
Well, I just don't see that on the list. The list I'm talking about
Yeah.
is Volume 1 of the United States Code, which says these are the organic laws of the United States of America.
Okay.
And it has 4 of them. The Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776.
Right.
And the Articles of Confederation of November 15th, 1777. The Southwest Ordinance of July 13th, 1787. And the Constitution of September 1787.
Yeah.
Now, I want to thank Ed Vieira for all the work that he's done, because he's the one that has brought this to light, that you need all 4 of those documents. Most people just quote the Constitution.
Yeah.
They don't realize that it's all 4 of those documents that apply.
Right. In other words, like they're all witnesses, silent witnesses, through an organic legislation.
Yes, you can find out more about this on, let's see. Let me look. Nope, that's not it. Organiclaws.org.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the site that you want to visit. He has some of this posted. Anyway, some of it you have to pay for. The chief purpose of the 4 organic laws is to regulate and control the government. Not you, not me, but to control the government. The laws are far more important. These are the most important laws. They are what the whole United States, the original United States, was founded on.
Right. Now, I remember a quote by Lysander Spooner, who was quite a legal activist of sorts. I don't know enough about Spooner's life, but in the late 1800s or mid 1800s, he was writing a lot, and he said that there has not been a true trial by jury since the ratification of the Constitution for the United States of America. So it looks like, from his quote, the conspiracy was on right from the beginning, right, about stacked jury.
Yeah, it's even worse now, huh?
Yeah, just the worst version. Yeah, perfected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. These are the most important documents and laws, because they are the founding documents of the United States of America, and that means no statute or code can conflict with the principles set forth in these documents. Now, I don't believe that any bill that has come out of Congress is actually unconstitutional, because if it's going to be enforced, it has to be enforced by looking through the Constitution and on these other 3 documents, the Declaration of Independence, Articles of Confederation, the Northwest Ordinance, and the Constitution, or it can't be enforced. They can pass anything they want to. They can say anything they want to, but it can't be enforced. And it's only enforced because they've done a mind game on us.
Yeah.
Now, Merriam-Webster defines organic as of relating to or constituting the law by which a government or organization exists. So that's what it means, the organic laws, is that this is what created the government, which only exists in the minds of men. Think about it. It's been written.
Yeah.
This only exists in the minds of men. Of course, sometimes it's men with guns, but...
Right, but they put it in everybody else's mind, and that's the problem, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, in Volume 1 of the United States Code, you will find that the four organic laws listed in the order of their sequence is the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776, the Articles of Confederation of November 15 or 13, 15, 1777, Northwest Ordinance of July 13, 1787, and Constitution of September 1787.
Yeah.
The Declaration of Independence says that there shall be no taxation without our consent. Therefore, this principle should be adhered to in the Internal Revenue Code. And guess what? It is.
Okay.
According to the Articles of Confederation, the states of the United States of America are free and independent. In other words, sovereign. And yet the federal government seems to be in a dominant position over the states. And how is that possible?
Mm-hmm.
Now that's a whole other story. That's how Franklin Delano Roosevelt tricked the governors of the states into giving all the power to the federal government. And possibly may go over that at some point.
Okay.
If I don't, Alan probably will.
And that's Alan David.
David.
Thursday, we've got Alan, a good friend of myself, and also Melody Gillespie, an introduction to the ancient cult of five and its existence in our modern world. If you go back to Saturday's program in the evening, you'll hear a preliminary by Alan David. Okay, check it out. But yeah, that'll be great. So we have a small circle of friends, you can tell right here.
And in each state's statutes, hidden in plain sight, lies the answer awaiting discovery. The Declaration of Independent States. That to secure these rights, governments are initiated among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Now, I think consent of the governed is like, I think it's been turned around in our heads to what that actually means. Who is the governed? If we, the people, in order to form a more perfect union, was the one that created the government, wouldn't they be the governed?
I think so.
I would think. So, the consent of the governed would have to be by employment contract, I would think. Anyway, clearly the organic laws have established the principle that government needs your consent to govern you. This being true, you should be able to find in the statutes and codes how to give your consent. Furthermore, the organic laws or the statutes and codes should contain an option for those who choose not to be governed. Now, back in, I think it was 38, the Supreme Court, I can't remember which justice it was, that stated, that the limited republic was a failure, and therefore they were going to accept the Hamiltonian government that was rejected in the Federalist Papers and by the Anti-Federalists back at when they were arguing back and forth about the Constitution, and they said they wouldn't accept a Constitution unless there was a Bill of Rights. And in case any of you aren't aware of this, the Constitution, the word means bankruptcy or state of bankruptcy.
Well, yeah, the definition I got out of the 1700 dictionary is the articles of bankruptcy. Articles of bankruptcy.
Right. And so who was bankrupt? It wasn't the people. They didn't give their consent.
The corporation? Corporation?
Well, that's the problem. That's why they went to the Constitution, because the Articles of Confederation, the United States had borrowed money from France. Well, actually, at that time, King Charles was both king. He came from France, so he governed both France and England. And they borrowed 10 million livre from
Italy?
France.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And here, King Charles governed both. So they actually borrowed money from the enemy to fight the Revolutionary War, which seems to me like we were set up.
No doubt. It was all a shell game. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if we actually borrowed that money from them, which, yeah, we did, but the thing is, that turned it into an economic war then.
Well.
So, yeah, the Revolutionary War. How did we win the Revolutionary War when it became an economic war? We haven't won yet. It's crazy. And then with the Civil War, we went into debt, and I've read some pieces that says we've never paid off that debt.
No, it was an increasing bill.
Yes.
Yeah. Continues to grow.
Yeah. Clearly, the organic laws have established the principle that government needs your consent to govern you. So, somewhere in the codes, it has, in the statutes, a way out of this, possibly in the organic laws. So when you go over these organic laws, you'll find how you were supposed to be self-governed and not governed by the corporations. And you'll see the sleight of hand. And you'll see that the government bureaucrats have you seen and thinking things that you've been programmed to believe. So I really suggest that you read these 4 documents and get the original versions online. They're all online.
Okay. I had an original copy of the Declaration of Independence that was one of the preliminary drafts by Thomas Jefferson. It wasn't the final one used, but it was rather telling to see how he worked on it, you know.
Yeah. So if government bureaucrats rely on our ignorance of the fact that all written law is limited to a specific subject, which it is, and they let you think that somehow it applies to you when you're not a creation of the legislature, you're not a creation of the executive. How in the world can anything they write or say have anything to do with you?
Right.
And Congress cannot write laws to regulate you without your consent, unless the United States government owns the property on which you're located, which they don't.
Right. Hold title. Hold title would be the term.
So I really suggest that you get to know these documents. Pick out the parts that you would believe that you might have to quote to somebody who's exceeding their authority. Put them on a piece of paper so you can hand it to them to read. When they come to your door, when they come to your car. I mean, who gives them any kind of permission to come on your property anyway? Where does that come from? But somehow they believe that the legislature's told them, hey, go ahead. And they do protect them. They do protect cops who violate the constitutional rights of the people that they invade. They do it all the time. But the way that you can protect yourself is by knowing these documents. And then, next week, I'm going to talk about how you go after the ones that violate your constitutional rights.
Okay. Okay, very good. And
and I would know your Bill of Rights for sure.
Right. Absolutely. So so very good. We don't have any questions, I guess, in the board, but Melody's going to be here every Monday, Mel's Bar and Grill, and we do law talk, and also talk about the organic nature of our the phony ship of state, the one that they created for us. So if, it's like playing poker. Jack and Margie Flynn are experts on playing, with the Constitution and using that authority to call their hand with presumptive letters and affidavits. So they're creating a house of cards and pretending something, and so it is possible to call their hand based on the true nature, of what is being claimed. But it takes somebody that knows how to look them right in the eye and not blink as well. Melody, any final thoughts?
Well, when you read these documents and you understand them, what created the limited republic, and you understand that you are the king of your own property, you are the self-government. Self-government means responsibility. That means you're responsible for doing what's right, and you can't be like them, fraudulent and telling lies and trying to make people believe something different. If you're going to be the king of your own property and be self-governed, you have to be honest and upright in your dealings. So it's a lot of responsibility, and that's why a limited republic can only stand if the people are honest and true. And how do government officials get the authority to be able to enact and enforce these laws, which we'll discuss at next time?
Okay. Melody, have you looked at the Agenda 21? Is that something that you have focused on at all?
I think that's why all the fires in California are going on, is that they're getting the people out of these wealthy areas that they'd never be able to get. They can't foreclose on them because the people pay their mortgages. They do everything right, so they burn them out. And I think this is done purposely to bring in Agenda 21. Governor Jerry Brown has signed a law that Californians can not have more than 55 gallons of water each. Meanwhile, he's pouring all of our fresh water into the ocean, claiming that this is to save a fish that doesn't live here, and they're disappearing because there's I think it's not the snouts. What are they? Anyway, these little fish,
Yeah.
and I can't remember what they are.
Let me just say, the fish came into being because of the canal system that they were developing, and therefore were an afterbirth or creation of the California agricultural system. And so, because now they're so important that they have to deny people the agricultural benefit of the water system, and protect those fish and let it flow into the San Francisco Bay, something like that. Right?
Well, they came in on the ships that came over here to the Bay area, and so the fish were very tasty little fish, and there's a lot of big fish that love the little tasty fish, and they're eating them, and they're saying, "Oh, they're dying. They're less in numbers now, so we got to pour more water into them." And I looked at the water budget, and the water budget is astronomical for these fish, and there's absolutely nothing for the people.
Yeah.
And then this super railway that's going in, that's part of Agenda 21 too, is to get, they're taking all the money from fixing the roads, and they're abandoning a lot of the roads that we have here in California. And they want to force the people to either leave California or to have to ride the bullet train that they're creating, the high-speed rail.
Yeah.
And the thing is that California's landscape isn't built for a high-speed rail, so they're having all kinds of issues. And what was a several $100 million project has turned into a several billion-dollar project, and probably $1 trillion project before they're done. They cannot go through these mountains and get the rail to where they want to go. Nobody thought of this when they come up with this plan, but they said, "Oh, Agenda 21, we want to jump on that, baby." And because what this TPP and the climate change, the carbon credits and all this is a slush fund for leaders of the nations. And it's to make all the people poor, because the people are being taxed so heavy. But these people are going away, these leaders are going away wealthy. That's why you have so many of the nations jumping on this. This is why Willie Brown thumbed his nose at President Trump, who abandoned the TPP because he found out it was nothing but a slush fund. And he adopted it for his state. And the whole, to bring in this new world order, they have the bribes and stuff that go along with these, all of these taxes to bribe the leaders to follow their guidelines. And that's what Jerry Brown is doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. If you look at where the fires are and where they were last year and the year before, you will see that it follows Agenda 21.
Yeah.
The Agenda 21 map.
And Jerry Brown is a Jesuit adjutant. It should be added, and he's been governor more than once. Rather interesting that would happen. And so he's fulfilling his Jesuit role, and
yeah, he's completely evil. He doesn't care what it does to the people. He has no loyalty to any of us. It's to get what he can out of this whole thing. That's what his position is. He's gutting this state. And by this state, I mean where we live.
Yeah.
That may not be the proper term, but he's gutting California of all of its wealth and natural resources.
Yeah. Okay, Melody, very good. So we're wrapping it up, and then we'll look for next Monday. And in the meantime, we got Alan David coming in on Thursday with the introduction of the Ancient Code of Five and its existence in our modern world. And do you have any contact information you want to give out, Melody?
I'll type it into the chat.
Okay. Okay, very good. So, so thank you for being willing to, shed more light on these issues and to hopefully help somebody, figure out their own situation on a local level where we have just another version of the communist system wonderfully entrenched in the U.S. of A. Right?
Yes.
Okay, Melody. Well, very good. Then we'll look for your information on the board, and just have a great week. All right, we'll look for you next Monday then, right here, 9 o'clock.
Okay.
9 Eastern time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You bet. That's
Mel's, everything. Thank you for listening, people.
Mel's Bar and Grill. Okay, every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern time, and so we'll eventually get the conference system set up, and then we can take callers that way. So we're just we have a mortgage friend who helps people losing their homes. We hope to bring on as well, and so we'll just see what we can do to help people that are toughing it out. Right? Let's go to a song, and want to thank you. You're tuned in right here to the RealPublicRadio.net, Free America Radio Network. When we get back, it'll be the Pirate Sea of Words, the words that kill. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, right here to the Forbidden History. Hope you're doing okay. We have a tough year. It looks like we're looking at. It's been a tough last couple decades and a tough last couple centuries and a last couple millennium. You know, it's just it's and thank you to Melody Gillespie for sharing her experiences and her knowledge of the law. You know, for our friends here on the network. Uh, they got us diverted, okay? And in the legal realm, that's a big diversion. So so feel free to touch base with Melody, and we'll have her on every Monday, okay? So in the piracy of words, which we've pretty well established are on the high seas, you know, trying to do damage around the world, capture the world, the controllers. The cryptography is a system devised to keep a written message secret. So that's cryptography, a system devised to keep a written message secret. See, cryptic, the crypt, Lucifer, Lucifer, the true cipher, cryptography. Currency is the current of the sea. That's the energy that flows. See round money as Munai, Lucifer again, and fraudulent reserve notes. And then we move right into the letter D. And I did not have this a prototype of the piracy of words in a final draft order. So there's other uh, parts of the alphabet that come in the later draft here, but it's a lot of bit of the code. Okay, so we're on D, and D is a primary symbol of death, darkness, and destruction. The letter expresses the primary nature of a word, which has a negative propensity, as in India, that is the Jesuit-run East India slave-running trading company. About the word dead, or see die in India, Indaya, the die, the duality, dead, in order to operate and to live within the matrix of the commercial, corporate, legal beast system, you have to officially agree to be dead. If you use anything with your character on it in all capital letters, you are agreeing to be dead. Hello, officer. What did you just say? May I have your offer, sir? You who are in commerce, offer, sir, officer? In commerce, you see? He's making an offer. Do you accept it? How about the dead? They sleep while they walk. C double D. How about debate? You willing to take the bait? It is not the phony issues that they are talking about that you want to hear. It's what they aren't talking about that should be of most concern. All of the Politburo issues are phony issues, man-made diversions, as it truly is, the greatest show on earth. See how they need the media to discuss their phony issues in order to make them look legitimate. The patriot media, so-called, that also talk on these unreal issues are either still blind or part of them, propping up the deceptions, all helping to make them look real and legitimate. Washington, D.C. is a prop, a front, a charade. The Federal Reserve is in full control and receivership of the bankrupt ship of state, their debtor. A debtor has no rights and is dead. So don't get on the hook with that state and with that bait. Speak the truth. The illusions are cartoon illusions. And you just got the Forbidden History, ladies and gentlemen, right here on the realpublicradio.net. I want to thank you for tuning in. It's been a long millennium so far. How about you? We'll pick it up with debt, okay? We'll talk about the debt and the debtor and the deed and the debt defense and density of matter, defendant, democracy, the demon creation. Oh, yeah. All right here. It's what they didn't want you to know. Hope your week is doing well, okay? But just don't forget, if you want to know the future, then you just need to tune in right here and look for the Forbidden History. It's what they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. And I'm attempting to do it every day. Love to have your feedback, your support, and certainly your prayers. They're coming for me, but they're coming for you too. And it looks like they've cut our time on this planet way short. Just look at the UV radiation. Look at the latest video on Mr. MBB333 YouTube channel, okay? That poor dog with its back burned right off with the UV radiation. It's for real. It's what they didn't want you to know. That we tell right here, ladies and gentlemen. TheRealPublicRadio.net. Free America Radio Network. You did tell your friends? Thank you for tuning in. I'm Desert Allen. And you're welcome, Ninja. Thank you.